What's up, guys? We're back with another Star Wars Black Series review, taking a look at a much-needed prequel character that, frankly, has been absent from the line for a very long time, but thankfully, we got him in what is probably the most perfect way possible. So, of course, we're talking about Count Dooku today. So we've got him here in our standard Black Series packaging. Figure there in the big window. You've got some artwork down there in the corner. He is number 107 in the line. And then on the back, you've got a little write-up as well as more of that artwork. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our Count Dooku figure. Finally, we have this guy after so long. But there is a very big positive in that the weight has produced a fantastic action figure. There is so much good stuff going on here, not to mention one of the best likenesses we've gotten in quite a while. There's just so much to like on this figure, and it includes arguably one of my favorite new accessories in the line that I need about a dozen of right now. So let's jump right into it, see what this guy's got going on. We are going to do a comparison to the FiguArts, although I don't have a lot of experience with that. I do have the figure, so we're going to do a comparison to that. But let's see how this guy moves around first, see what he can do, because there is some interesting stuff going on here. So you've got a head that is independently articulated from the neck, which helps him because, honestly, the head doesn't really do a whole lot. So he goes backwards only slightly, but he goes down a little bit. He bobbles side to side and then rotates. He's an old man, so I can kind of forgive that, honestly. Arms go out at the shoulders, they rotate. He does have a butterfly joint in there, which is surprising. I did not expect that. We have got single jointed elbows, but look at that range. They're cut in such a way that they just go crazy. That's way more than 90. This reminds me of like the recent She-Hulk figure in Marvel Legends. Very similar elbow joint, and then a rotation there. We've got hinges and rotation at the wrist. This one is a lateral hinge, and then this one is a vertical hinge over here. You've got a ball jointed waist, so he goes all the way around. He goes backwards, forwards, side to side, and then full rotation. Legs go almost all the way out, way more than he could actually do. They kick forward, they kick backwards. There is a thigh cut up there. We've got those newer, weird, single jointed rotating knees, so they go back a little bit more than 90, and then they rotate, which I'm not too upset about because, again, it's Count Dooku, so he's not the most agile of figures when it comes to Star Wars, but at the same time, it's a single joint, so, you know, your mileage may vary on that. And then you've got rocker, and you've got hinges down at those ankles. So he is very similar to most figures, but at the same time, he has some interesting stuff going on. So the butterfly joint, those pretty wide-ranging elbows, and then, of course, you've got the new, arguably weird knees down there, but he does move really well. Where this figure truly excels, and where he makes up for maybe a little bit of his shortcomings in articulation, is 100% the look. I'm just a fan of what's going on here. I really think that at the end of the day, this figure puts the FiguArts to shame in a number of ways, and I mean, a lot of folks are just going to be happy with this. So we do have stuff that we're kind of familiar with in terms of like a Jedi-style body. Well, Jedi here. So you've got just kind of the blank torso. You've got kind of the skirt piece here that is, you know, kind of a rubbery material with a slit there on the side to help with the leg movement. You got your painted belt with your peg hole for your lightsaber hilt, and then you just got, you know, kind of chocolate-colored pants with some black boots, and then chocolate-colored sleeves with wrinkles all over. So very similar stuff to we see with any of the other Jedi type of characters, but it looks good. The colors are nice, and they're a little bit better than the FiguArts, I would say. And then the big thing for me is the cape, as far as the body goes anyway, because at least when we compare to the FiguArts, we're going to do that here shortly, you can see that there's just a big difference in terms of how this thing hangs. It flows a little better. You've got the chain here that sits across the chest. You've got the underside, which is, you know, it's a different color, so it's a lighter brown than the darker brown on the outside. It's not overbearing. It kind of drapes over him well, so if you want it to sit over his shoulders, it looks really good. If you want to, you know, kind of rock it back a little bit, it will sit there as well and kind of, you know, be kind of puffed over his shoulders and be more maybe battle ready almost, but I think it looks really good. It's very lightweight. It doesn't weigh him down, and it doesn't feel too flimsy either at the same time. So it's really minimal, but at the same time it seems kind of robust, if that makes any sense. It's not in the way, but it definitely accomplishes what they're setting out to do, and he just looks good. That's really what it comes down to. He looks like he should. And that couldn't be more evident when you look at the face, because Well, this is an excellent likeness to Christopher Lee. I'm really, really happy with what they did here. I think the photo printing is just top-notch, not to mention the fact that the sculpt obviously has to be there to get it to look this good, but this looks just like the man, and I think they did him a great service by doing such a great likeness here. The kind of salt and pepper that they've got going on in the beard and the hair works really well, because it's not stark white like the FiguArts is, and the likeness, again, it's just there. The sculpt is fantastic, the fine details on the face. He looks a little angry, which works for me. He's not, just sort of staring off into space. He does have somewhat of an expression on his face, although he is rather stoic at the same time. But it's just another instance of them nailing this figure and nailing the way it looks. That's just damn near perfect. Now, as far as accessories goes, this guy comes with a minimal amount of accessories, which is honestly par for the course when it comes to Black Series. So we've got, to start out with, we've got a lightsaber blade, and you'll see why it's just a blade in a minute. Regular red blade, nothing crazy, nothing fancy. We've seen these a number of times in the line. He has a red lightsaber, he gets a red blade. This guy does, though, come with arguably one of the coolest accessories that I have seen in a Black Series figure in a long time, and it's something that I wish every single lightsaber user had. So we've got an in-motion, kind of swooshing lightsaber effect, which, I mean, come on, this is just so cool. This is exactly the kind of thing that you want to have to kind of just, elevate your display, elevate your just photography that you're doing with it, or anything to make it look like there's a little bit more action happening on your shelf or in your shots. And I'm so happy that Hasbro decided to do something like this. We've got his, of course, very unique fencing style hilt here. So this is a little bit different from the norm, and I think it's really cool. I'm really happy with the way this hilt looks. It's really nice. It's very unique. There is a little bit of a frustration factor, at least for me right now, when it comes to putting this in his hands as far as two-handed poses, because it's just kind of awkward. There's a peg on the inside of the hilt, and you just have to get used to it. So you can do it, don't get me wrong, and you can do it just fine, but it might be a little bit more odd at first because we've got a curve to deal with there. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is just such a fantastic accessory, and it works so well. Of course, you can pop this off, and you can peg this into his belt if you don't want to have it ignited, but it's a fantastic choice here. I'm glad they did this, and I'm assuming we're going to get more of these. I certainly hope so. The one thing that I know a lot of folks really, really wanted to get with this figure, though, is something that definitely wasn't included, and I'm assuming it might be because they're testing this thing out, and that would be something like this. So a Force Lightning hand. This, of course, is Palpatine's. It's got the nasty, decrepit-looking paint job on there. You can swap this out for Dooku's hand. It does work. You can use it. The pegs are not exactly the same, but it doesn't really put up much of a fight either. So if you want to use this, and you can kind of get that hand out of your shot because it doesn't look right at all, or want to repaint it, you do have the option because this does work pretty well. Otherwise, though, this is the star of the show for me when it comes to accessories right now in the Black Series. I think they did a great job. And here is our comparison between the SH FiguArts and the Black Series. And again, I have to say that I've never touched this figure until now. I really just kind of put this figure on the back burner, and then I completely lost track of it and never got around to doing anything with it. So never reviewed it, literally never even opened the box until this review. So I'm kind of going into this fresh, and there is definitely a lot of weird stuff on the FiguArts, like a lot of people said, but there's a lot of good stuff on this. They very much kind of are on different spectrums. This is among one of the best Black Series we've gotten in a while. There is so much good stuff going on here. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on here. I would say that in the real comparison area, it's got to be the head, because this, at first glance, it kind of looked like him, kind of looked like Dooku, kind of looked like Christopher Lee, but then when you get it next to this one, you can see, well, holy hell, this doesn't really look like him all that much at all. Not to mention the fact that he's got this weird, crazy breastplate thing they had to make to get his butterfly joints in there, which are entirely unnecessary, and then the cape is kind of funky and all that kind of stuff. Of course, this figure, the FiguArts, does come with a lot of stuff, like he's got Force Lightning hands and things like that, but then this guy has the crazy new lightsaber blades, so I don't really know if there's much to compare here, honestly, because, well, the Black Series is honestly the winner. There is a lot of weird stuff with the FiguArts and a lot of good stuff with the Black Series. So, yeah, if you don't have either and you desperately need a Dooku, you need to not get the FiguArts, and this is the one to get. He does have Force Lightning hands, of course, which would be great to have on the Black Series, but I mean, the likeness on this one just outweighs everything. So yeah, unless you just don't plain like the prequels or you don't like Dooku, there is zero reason to not get this figure. It has so much going for it in terms of articulation, just to be able to make a, well, old man into at least a relatively agile figure on your shelf. He definitely doesn't move as well as every figure, but he certainly moves really well. He looks like he jumped right out of the screen, and that head sculpt, that photoreal paint application, I mean, it's just out of this world. It's so crazy that this figure blows away the FiguArts that, I mean, you just have to get this one and really see it for yourself. The likeness is truly top-notch, and then ultimately, it's just a great package. Sure, he doesn't come with Force Lightning hands, but I will take that swooshing lightsaber effect any day, and I really hope it gets put forward into a lot of other figures. I don't want them to re-release figures just to give us one of those, but I really love it. I think it's a fantastic idea. It's great. It's unique. It adds a little bit of flair to your display, and it just makes him look that much cooler. So that's going to do it for this look at the Star Wars Black Series Count Dooku figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.